Hello everyone, my name is Anne, and I'm going to present you my demo of my university project called Art Network. It's an application that visualizes interconnected artwork data in virtual reality. As we all know, virtual reality offers a unique way to present information. And as the technology progresses, VR becomes more widespread and finds users outside of gaming. And one of those applications is virtual museums. So by making virtual application, by making VR applications part of their exhibitions, museums can enhance user engagement and learning process. So the idea of this application was to create an abstract environment that could show famous paintings from different art periods and connections between them that are presented as a graph network. So project intention was to create something that does not have physical world constraints. And Art Network relies on data provided by the National Gallery of Art from Washington, D.C. And the data set provides a lot of information for different artworks. And for this project, we chose only the painting category, which contains around 4,000 artworks. And the only information required for this project is the images of the artworks and their properties, such as name of the authors, title, and year of publishing. So the idea was to visualize this information in virtual reality. And here we have a mock-up scene where we show how the user can explore paintings and their properties. And in the Art Network, artworks are visualized as a graph network. And with each artwork, artwork represents as a node, and the edges form connections that represent common properties. And if the artworks are produced within a certain period of time from each other, a connection is formed between them. So here we have like a view. So basically the outline color represents the artwork view and gradually going from blue in the past to green in the present. And here, for example, you can see that in the middle, the work dated 1903, and it's connected to the work from 1904. And on the right corner, we have artworks that are both dated from 1908, and they're not connected to the one in the middle because they have separate years. And since the dates are further apart, then they define their thresholds, so they're not connected. We also have an option to enlarge any of the paintings and view them in full. And now I'm going to talk about the physics relation that is used to model the behavior of the nodes. So the movement of nodes is modeled with real physics equations, and it makes it look natural for the users, and it behaves in predictable and intuitive way. So there are two types of forces acting on each node, attractive and repulsive. So attractive force is applied between nodes that have a connection, and it is modeled as an elastic force, as if the nodes were connected by a spring. And repulsive force is applied by each node in the scene, and it is modeled as a magnetic force between same charges. So the aim of applying these forces is to place nodes that have a connection closer together, as you can see on those animations. And also we have another example where we simulated around 3,000 nodes and created this beautiful network. But at the moment we only have 500 nodes developments in the application that I'm going to show you later, because this simulation is very compute heavy, so it's not possible to run 300 nodes, 3,000 nodes on Outlook, basically here. And here I have a few more examples from early stages of the development. And on the right side, you can see that we have a feature where user could grab a node and it will affect the movement of the whole network. And it was also removed because it also compute heavy, unfortunately. And here I have a short video of the application. And this version is available to try today after the completion. And it's also still in development and we can add more features in the future. And just performance improvement and ability to control different types and strengths of connections in real time. 2 minutes video, so we can go with Thank you very much for listening.
Really lovely. It took me for a nostalgic moment back to my Art A level, history of Art A level, which was many years ago. I think we'll just leave it at that. Because we're on the safe side. Anyone here like to ask any questions about it? Yes, sure, Steve.
Hello. Thank you very much for that. I was interested, how did you create the connections? I mean, did you have a data set, or did you get it from a book, or what sort of doctrine did you use to join things together?
Oh yeah, as I said,
I have another question after that, all right? No, but do that one first.
Yeah, as I said, I had a data set from a gallery, and
Right.
basically I had all this information about the years, and basically using the scripting community, I connected everything together.
So it was like predestined as the art community decides. Okay, so the next question, more radical. Can you make your own connections in the data network? So if you wanted to say, I don't agree with that, and just put another link or change the links, could you? And have a personalized network? But I've given you a hard question.
Not sure.
You see, that's the interesting bit for me, because if you have a doctrine that is fixed, sent, you know, Matisse followed by so-and-so, followed by this one, followed by another one, that is a planned timeline of activity. And things don't really go in the planned timeline. Artists do things at different times, and yet chronologically, everybody puts everything into a nice order, never a nice order. And it just seemed it's too nice. I mean, it's nice that you've made it, and I really liked it, but you need to go a bit further.
Yeah, if you write an algorithm in that way, that even a user can give their own views, that they want to place which artist in a row, or they want to place which years in a row, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, I agree with that, but the question is the data set up to do that in a particular way?
Yeah, the data set is placed in this way, but we can change the data set. If we give it a new type of algo, and we give that information, that we can move it according to the artist, even according to the painting, we can change it.
Might be worth thinking about then.
Yeah.
It occurred to me as well that many more female painters over the centuries are now being rediscovered in the basements of various museums around the world, and it'd be lovely to have a series like that based on some of the lesser known ones and how they joined up and how they influenced into. So you could actually follow some sort of theme like that would be another interesting approach.
Yeah, I think just sort of following up on the sort of previous point. Yeah, I think what you could do would be, because obviously, yeah, you can have all sorts of different narratives connecting these things. So I guess what you would do is you would kind of work with whoever the gallery or the curator was to sort of modify that data set and draw those connections. I think that would be really interesting. But the other thing I think is quite interesting about your question is there could be an extension of something like this, where there's like maybe an interactive feature that lets you create your own organization of those things, and that could be very interesting. I think maybe you could then save those and have like a database of
and they could be drawn down by relative people, because it's a bit like Wiki, isn't it? You know, where you make a comment and then 2 days later it's gone, you know, because someone doesn't agree with it.
Yeah.
But if you could have it as like a residue of information, I mean, the whole idea about, you know, time-based chronological structures is that they can be adapted. I mean, and I think we have to get away from, you know, 0 to 1 billion or 2 billion. You know, there are different possibilities, and when you see art structured in such a particular way, it's very fixed, and yet art was never fixed. You know, it's always done by accidents. The artists themselves hardly ever knew what they were doing, even though they say in the books that they did, right? You know, and it's, you know, if you talk to most artists, I'm a intuitive artist. I just make what comes in front of me, right? And then maybe in 100 years' time, it will be really structured learning.
I just want to ask one thing, that will it be available for the students too? Because as a history teacher, when I was teaching history, if we can give this sort of information to our kids, it will be really good for us to.
I'm not sure if I can make it available to the public because of the paintings, and like with license, I'm not allowed to share, for example, some as application. But maybe if I'll find a gallery that provides like free access to the data, then of course. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I just ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
If the museum that you're working with at this moment doesn't allow you to do it, it seems rather a waste of a journey of discovery. Because the potential of creating these types of data sets are really interesting about how the artifact is produced and how it's then presented in the world, both in terms of equality, inclusivity, and also how you can add more painters from all different types of genders and positions. It's only a start point. It just seems a lot of work to get nowhere if you're not allowed to use it by the museum. Have you asked them? Or was it a project just to discover what's possible?
It was like just a university project, but
Yeah.
I think this application, like I can use something different than paintings or artworks. I can use maybe some other data, I don't know, about like cars or something like that, and I can make same thing. Because,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but it's a good.
It occurs to me, I mean, my background is in photography, and it occurs to me a fabulous something similar with a history of photography, using this, and in some ways that might even be easier from the copyright point of view, because photographs go out of copyright, and then it comes into which museum owns that particular print, and you can have the same print in half a dozen different museums, and that way you just go and ask one of them nicely and the others can't complain to say I've got more scan from here, and so on. But that would be another lovely use for it, you know, and I think that with museums that specialize in certain areas, you know, it'd be lovely to do just what's in the National Gallery or what's in the Louvre or something like that, that would be relevant to anyone who was going to visit. I think it would be a fabulous idea. Any more questions or comments from the floor at this juncture?